All right, guys, we're going to get right into it, man. We're going to break this clip down here. We are going to break this clip down here. So we have one of the things I've been noticing on YouTube, guys, they are propping up these pro-Zionist accounts. Like, it is getting ridiculous, and they're shadow banning the accounts that were speaking out against them, right? Like the Candace Owens and, like, all these other YouTube channels that were popping, and they're propping up these pro-Zionist accounts that sit around and spew a bunch of fake propaganda literally throughout the entire videos. And really no one's watching it, but I feel like they're pushing the content on the viewership, on the viewers, right? Like they're just showing up everywhere. And, they have to combat the embarrassing press that they received on the, the genocidally embarrassing genocidal campaign that they conducted within the past year and a half. And and they're spewing, they're just spewing a bunch of illogical, dumb arguments that no one believes in anymore. But, they're trying their best. These people are societally screwed. They can't fly anywhere in the world, really, without getting harassed and, beat on and spat at. One of which is actually one of these shills here. This guy's a professional, I call him a professional Donald Trump D-rider. Branden TIDDIES, guys, right? So Branden TIDDIES is one of these guys that was popping when the Trump administration was trying to recruit. I guess they were trying to win, like, the black vote, so they put dude, like, out there. They propped his account up, so people could start, the black community could start looking into Trump more when you have, like, these dudes like him, Byron Donalds, Tim Scott. And by the way, these people are nowhere to be found after Trump won. We don't know what the hell happened to him, right? Tim Scott was supposed to be a vice president at one point. That didn't work out. Dude, I don't even think he's on Trump's cabinet. And they bring on these little other minorities, like Vivek Ramaswamy. He's probably, I think he's like quit Doge now. He's trying to run for governor of Ohio, and he's obviously not going to win that. So a lot of these cats were like professional cheerleaders, pretty much deriding Donald Trump so he takes that election. So one of which is this dude, Officer Titty. So he gets into this argument with this pro-Palestinian, and this guy is so illogical and like unintelligent. His arguments are so baseless. That it's like it's kind of cringe to watch, but I mean I had to sit through this because it was just being shared everywhere by these pro-Zionist accounts. Like these dudes were thinking they got some fucking gold or some shit with this guy, this clown over here, arguing with this lady, and let's get into some of his talking points because this dude's we're gonna totally dismantle all his.
Back to the Palestinians.
Absolutely.
Okay, do you believe we should give the land back to the natives in America? No? Or you just say no?
Now, I would like to come back to the subject of Palestine, and I'm sorry to say that I'm completely, I think you adopted a narrative that is completely biased.
Are you Palestinian?
No, absolutely not.
Are you Jewish?
No. I'm French.
Have you lived in Israel?
No.
Have you been in
But
Israel?
I do know history.
No, have you been in Israel? I'm just asking.
No,
Like,
but
I
I
wanna
will
get
just
a
tell
premise
you,
of-
I have a good knowledge of the
So can you just tell me what you disagree with?
So I will just tell you. So when you say that the Hamas and people supporting Hamas are the ones who are in fact supporting Islamist Nazi, as they call them, it's simply false. I will remind you.
Hold on.
No,
We need to be clear about this. You're saying that Palestinians in Gaza did not vote for Hamas to be their governing
It's not
body.
what I said.
No, I'm actually, go ahead.
I'm going to tell you that Hamas, who supported Hamas and who fought, because it's very important to
Did
be
the Palestinians in Gaza vote for Hamas?
It's very
No, wait a minute. Did the Palestinians in Gaza?
All right, man. So let me break this because, bro, watching this, like, listening to this guy is freaking cringe, man. So, one thing first off, she's trying to talk to him about a topic that he talks about too, right? So the first thing he hits him with is he tries to go to these identity politics bullshit. Similar to what you do when people want to argue about race and stuff like that. You go like, oh, are you black to be talking about this topic? You can't be, or are you Mexican to be talking about this topic? Or you can't talk about it because you're Mexican. It's like, okay, listen up, bro. Like, Do I have to be a mathematician to tell you 1 + 1 = 2? No, right? So, and he sits around and talks about this topic all day on his channel, right? And she wants to talk to him about the historical context of, you know, why he's being misinformed about the stuff that he's talking about. But we obviously know who pays his paycheck, right? So dude's not going to turn against his master. And then he turns to, like, he makes this stupid argument where he says, oh, did they vote for Hamas in Gaza? Like, what kind of, like, bro, Gaza's not a democratic republic where people have a say in what goes on as far as their government is concerned. Like, this is an open air prison within a apartheid state of a certain group of people forming a damn ethno state within their own country, or in occupying and you know, settling on other people's lands. Like, what are you talking? Like, you know what I mean? There's no fair elections in Gaza, and everybody knows. And you can even look at, you know, some of these former Israeli prime ministers and people in the Mossad who have said, like, that they actually helped Hamas gain power in Gaza, right? And even built the tunnels for them in order to thwart the possibility of having a Palestinian state, because they're opposing the other Palestinians that are on the West Bank who are doing it diplomatically. But none of that, neither side have been working. Their whole key is to manipulate and to derail Palestinians from actually having a state in the world community for accepting a Palestinian state, right? But this clown comes on here, and anyways, I'm gonna let him spew his shit, bro.
Gaza elect Hamas.
Yes, I will tell you something.
No, did you
But
say
we
yes?
need to be, no, we can't just...
Hold on, wait.
Let me finish
Can
my
you answer that
statement.
question, though?
They
Just answer the
did
question.
vote Hamas.
They voted Hamas. They elected Hamas as their leaders.
They did vote Hamas, and who supported Hamas? And that is in a recording. Netanyahu, the president, the prime minister, in a recording in 2019, he explained clearly in a cynical way that he wanted to favor Hamas. Why Hamas? Because Hamas is a very extremist group to jeopardize the Fatah, the other group that is willing to find a political solution to the problem. And the reason they let money travel from Qatar through Israel to Hamas, in that way, if Hamas is in power, people vote for Hamas, they will never be able to create a Palestinian state.
Yep.
In fact, the fact that I want is a political...
Okay, let me just jump in. I mean, I don't think my point was any of that. My point was that... Let me finish.
You have a very false narrative based on a false information.
Let me finish.
Muslims and Muslims and Jews and
Should I go sit down?
and
Ma'am,
Christians
can you listen to me?
during the centuries
Ma'am,
in
can you
peace.
listen to me?
And
Okay.
it's...
Are you going to listen or are you going to talk?
I can't hear you, bro.
Okay, what I'm saying is that wasn't my argument. My argument is rooted in facts. I made mention that they elected Hamas as their leader. Okay, they lead. Now they did a terrorist attack in Israel where they killed innocent people. You saw the videos, right? So you can go back and say this person did this and this and that. It doesn't change the fact that they flew into Israel. They flew. We only.
South Africa, did you support
No,
apartheid?
it's not an apartheid in Israel.
Israel
No, it's not.
Apartheid.
That's your opinion.
It supported
Wants to let him know how he's misinformed about the topic, which he clearly is, and she's totally like presenting facts to this guy, and the only thing he can come up with is, oh, well, didn't the Gazans vote for Hamas? Not knowing that region is an open air prison, right, within an apartheid state of a group of an ethnicity who's formed an ethnogenesis inside another people's country and are slowly mowing the lawn, they call it, taking over, you know, certain areas within that region and kicking the indigenous people of that region out of their homelands. Right, he turns around and says like, "Oh, didn't they vote him in?" Like Gaza's like this democratic republic that has voted. Like, so dude's clearly like an idiot. And then then she says, "Well, do you support South Africa, like the apartheid state?" He's like, "No, that's not an apartheid state." Are you a fucking idiot? Like, what's going on in Israel and Palestine is the literal definition of an apartheid state. But dudes like that who are getting, he's pretty much like he's getting pimped out by these same group of people, right? So they're just throwing, they're giving him, they have him on his payroll. So obviously, he has to, argue back. But
there was a war that was fought, and one side lost and the other side won.
No.
Okay. Do you think that Palestine? Do you think that Israel should give back? What do you think Israel should do to Palestine? Give back the land?
I believe in two-state solutions, and Netanyahu doesn't.
Okay. Do you believe that they should give the land back to the Palestinians?
Absolutely.
Okay. Do you believe we should give the land back to the natives in America? No? Are you going to say no?
So where would we go?
What do you mean? Listen, ma'am. It's the same equivalence. There was a war fought. But the Jews were there first. The Jews were there first. Do you not read the Bible? The Bible is not real? You tell me. I went to Israel.
Okay, and he uses like the old Native American trope, like, oh, should we give the Native Americans back their land in the United States and stuff like that? And let's just be honest, let's all the way honest here, guys. Yeah, this isn't the Native American people of this country, right? They've been absolutely humiliated and treated like shit. I mean, like, they have gotten their reparations and stuff like that. But the reality of it is, guys, this is Native American land. Like, it is what it is. Now, if they would have won and resisted, the occupation, the British colonialist occupation, the seceding British colonialist occupation known as America today, then obviously, we wouldn't be in a situation where we're at. And that's what the Palestinians are trying to do now from this parasite called Israel, who is trying to expand their borders on a group of indigenous people. And they've resisted thus far, but I'm not pro-colonialism. And this clown, I guess, from what his rhetoric is saying, that he is. And he almost forgot that he's asked, him and his whatever his lineage is, got colonized as well and brought here, forcefully. So people like this, forget about their roots and they get into like this, they start being pro-colonialism now, only for that paycheck though. So, and then he makes this line and says that, oh, well, the Israelis have been here before the Palestinians, right? Which is an ignorant claim, because number one, the Jewish people, yes, the Jewish people have always been in that land, right? But the Israelis, the ones occupying modern day that region, Palestine, are not the people of that land that were there from thousands of years ago. The Jewish people of that land that were there from years of thousands, they'll tell you, hey, we want to live back to how it was back in the day, where we were under. They disagree with the Palestinians because the Jewish religion says so. The Jewish religion says that the Jews should never have a state. This is a colonialist project that was created in 1948 to maintain American hegemony over the Middle East, right? In cahoots with the Saudi Arabians, the Americans, and the Israelis, and the British. Well, not even the Americans. They left them out. It was the British, right? And it was to maintain Western hegemony over the Middle East. And they've been used as a kind of a proxy for Western imperialism in the Middle East due to its resources. And that's the reality of the state of Israel, right? But this clown here can't distinguish the Israeli from the Jew. The Jews always been there. They don't want, and guess what, fat ass? The Jews don't want a state, right? The Orthodox Jews, the God-fearing Jews believe that the Jews should never have a state until the Messiah comes back, and you can go look that up, right? The Israelis, that's a fake colonialist entity that was created. An importer from a group of people who claim to be Jewish, who are actually secular Jew. Most of them are secular, don't even practice the religion, and have now maintained control of that region. So what this dude's saying is a complete lie, and similar to how they fabricated that entire country, really. Um, so yeah, I mean, this guy's just talking out of his ass. But anyways, let's just let's finish up with the clip, bro. I'm tired of listening.
If you're a Christian, you should go to Israel and see.
Yeah.
You're talking about, there is physical evidence of King Solomon, King David, the city of David in Jerusalem. They existed there. The Jews were there way before anybody else.
That's
Do you remember Abraham? Abraham.
Who was before? It was an anti-land? The answer is no. And you can say it was in the Bible because the international law doesn't base its logic on what
It's
the
called
Bible
history,
says.
man. You said history. The Bible is a
History,
historical
there were
document.
Canaanites. Were there Canaanites
Bible's the historical
before
document.
Abraham?
Okay, do you know in Jerusalem at the Temple Mount,
Oh.
right? There was a temple there before there was a mosque. Is that true or not?
Before that.
Was there a temple before there were a mosque?
Tell me, what do they do with the people who lived there for centuries?
What people?
We just kick them out?
What do we do to the natives?
Palestinians.
What do we do to the natives in America? What do we do to them? What do we do to them?
We let them die?
We don't say let people die.
What do they do then?
They on a reservation. They can be a part.
They are in an open prison.
That's what you think.
2 million.
That's
It's
what you
not what I
think.
think. If you listen to former Tsar soldiers who said, we are behaving like Nazis, I quit the country.
Do you think that Hamas is right with what they did?
No.
No. But what is Hamas fighting? I want to just this last question. What is Hamas fighting?
Is a freedom group.
Freedom group?
Yes, they lived there for 20 years in prison.
So did they
What
do?
you tell me
Was
what
it
you
right?
do? You're in a 20 years prison. You have nothing to do with your time. What do you do?
So you saying they're right by what they did?
I don't say killing is a good thing.
Then what else
but
they
they have
gonna
no
do?
choice.
They had no choice.
They have no choice.
This is exactly what I think I'm going to finish. This is exactly what I'm saying. When people say we're pro-Palestinian, free Palestinians, they actually want to obliterate the Jews.
That's not true.
Hamas
The ones
believes what she
who behave
believes.
like Nazis, they are
Hamas believes what you
precisely
believe.
Israelis.
Hamas believes what you believe. They believe they're liberating the people.
Yes.
That's why they voted for
When
Hamas.
you're in prison
That's
for
what you
20
believe.
years, what do you do with your time?
You kill Israelis? Is that what you're saying?
You free yourself.
Okay, how do you free yourself?
What will you
How
say
do they free
during
themselves?
during the Nazi regime? If
All right, last point.
camps,
How do they
camps,
free themselves?
Concentration camps. Will you consider
How
people
do they free
breaking
themselves?
through their concentration camp as terrorists? Tell me.
How do they free themselves?
And terrorism is only American.
The question that
All right, man. Yeah, man. I mean, this guy's obviously a moron. Like, so he's claiming. So he's leaving out the fact that these people were pillaged, occupied. There's an open air prison. He claimed that it wasn't an open air prison. How would your fat ass like if I put you in Gaza and had you live there, right, with your people? Let's say, for example, you know, no pun intended. I'm not trying to, you know, make any not, you know, nothing about his race or anything. So don't nobody take it seriously. I'm saying, like, if he had his family members or whatever, put him in an open air prison and control their electricity and their food and their water and they put parasites in there. They control their fucking. There's literally nowhere they can go. It's a literal prison camp. It's like Auschwitz, pretty much, right? And your fat ass only has two options: whether you stay there, you stay in an open air prison for your entire life and continuously be humiliated and, you know, beat down and stepped on, or, you know, you could choose to resist and hopefully, you know, there'll be a you know, victory in the end or martyrdom, and that's a respectable thing, right? And people like this clown and most of these other clowns that, you know, view this from a Zionist lens, they're not going to understand that they're not going to understand that concept, right? Because these people are parasites. These people are parasitic and low value, low quality individuals, bro. And you know, these people are parasites themselves, right? They claim God, but they're not. That's not a godly act to sit there and accuse people who are in an open air prison or who are being oppressed, right? And call them terrorists because they stand up for the rights. Yo, people like this are clowns, bro. Just want to, you know, break some of this corny ass, because this clip's going going up everywhere, and people were like, "Oh, she got owned by Branden TIDDIES," and he didn't own anything, guys. He's misinformed, parasitic, and on top of that, he's a liar. And it's like, how are you gonna have how are you gonna be a parasitic lion clown, um, and try to talk with, try to act like you have some type of like what's going on. It's like you don't. All right. So anyways, yeah, shout out to her, guys. Put me on there with shout out to her, guys.